Okay.
Sorry.
I got it. Okay, good evening. Welcome. Let me just wipe off my camera. Is that better? Probably not. Okay. Good morning. Good evening. Welcome to our Pnimiyus year, Parshas Pinchas, Tavshin Peyal. This year is, let's have in mind, Naomi Malka Sarah Bas Tova Riva Leah, for Shlema, Shachar Yisrael. A little baby who is needs Rachim Shemaim Bez Hashem. Everything will be bechesed. The Parshas Pinchas. Pinchas is someone that amazingly acquired a lot, amazing role in Klal Yisrael with one act. He had this act of kinna, beginning in last week's parsha, and the last week's parsha, and the bracha from Kadosh Baruch Hu that he got because of this kinna, and Pinchas, from this one act of kinna, it was like you have, Bocha Rebbe, right? Yesh Kaina Alam B'Sha'achas by Rabbi Elazar ben Dordaya, right? You have this musig. I don't know if Rebbe would be boicha by Pinchas, because Pinchas wasn't a bad guy. He was a big tzaddik even before this. But Pinchas, by this one ma'isa, Bekanis Kinasi, that he killed Zimri and Cosby, he really got something in Nitzchias. Pinchas became a Mekayim, Pinchas became Eliyahu. Eliyahu is ultimately the Mavasa, the Geula. Eliyahu now comes to every bris, and in nice brisi shalom. He comes to every bris. There's something about Pinchas and his connection to Nitzchias that he acquired by this tremendous mice of Mesiras Nefesh, mice of the Kanis Kinos. Let's just start talking maybe Pasha. What is Kinna? So Rashi says Kinna. Rashi says the kitzpah is a ketzef shahayali liktzah. Okay, which means, like we know from the Ramchal, right? The ketzef is a kitzpah shahayali liktzah, right? That Pinchas Ki'ilu, he stood in for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kav very angry when there's Gilai Rayas going on. And Pinchas was able to tap into HaKadosh Baruch Hu's emotion. This is what we saw in Ramchal when he talks about Kinna. He's in the parak of Chasidus, I believe it is. There's Ava, there's Simcha, and there's Kinna. Right? There are different connections to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One of them is Kinna, which means the way the Ramchal describes it is when you love someone, when you have deep emotional connection with someone, if someone wrongs them, that gets you very upset, because how could you wrong someone that I'm so much? And he gives an example when if a person insults someone's parent in front of them, right? This gets a person very riled up, even though every person knows their parent is not perfect. But at the end of the day, if you insult my parent, and my emotional connection to my parent is so deep and ingrained, anything that knocks at their covet, it infuriates a person. That's what the kin of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. A person who is a kanoi has built a tremendous emotional connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's tremendously into it emotionally with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and his connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and recognizing that he's a chelik elokamimal, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like Lashon Ramchal Avicha Mamish. And Mimela, a person that has a positive kinna, like Pinchas had, it's built on a deep emotional connection. When this kinna is brought to the fore, and a person's mama stands in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then a person is catapulted to tremendous madregas, and that's where Pinchas came. That was how Pinchas arrived at this tremendous bracha. It was built on his connection, but he exercised this deep connection to do something that was with a tremendous Mesiras Nefesh. the Imei Noyam in this week's Parsha, he talks about how Pinchas, he was able to undo the tremendous pigam of Balak and Bilam. Balak and Bilam, their job was to imara all Dinam and Klal Yisrael. Dinam and Klal Yisrael are the Zman of the year that we're holding in now. The 21 days of Bein HaMitzarim, between Shavuos and B'Tammuz, and this is the Zman of where Din is shelled in the world. That's why it is, that's why Klal Yisrael is in every year during these 3 weeks is very, very, very subdued, because this is man of dinim, and this is really Balak and Bilam's role over here. Balak and Bilam's role over here was to be more these dinim of these chaf alaf yamim. Zokte meinoyam, that the chaf alaf yamim that of Yemei Hadin have corresponding to it the chaf alaf yamim of Yontif. We have 21 days of Yontif, and he counts them as 7 days of Pesach, 1 day of Shavuos, 2 days Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, 8 days of Sukkot, 2 B'Av and Purim is 21 days of Yontif. The correspondence that overcomes the Yemei Hadin is the Yamim Tovim. And he says that Pinchas was, and this is what's Merumas in last week's Parsha, that the Yamim Tovim is something that overcomes Balak and Bilam's dinim, because Lama Hiki Sami is that Sholish Regalim, is what the Asin told Bilam. And ultimately, right, what Rashi tells us is that how are you going to go against Klal Yisrael? Have Regalim, have Shalosh Regalim, and the Yom Tovim overcome all the dinim. He says, interestingly enough, he says that the Iker of the Yom Tovim is Pesach. Pesach is the Yom Tov that kicks off the Yom Tovim. Is the ultimate chesed of Pesach, and we know that when it comes to simonim of the calendar, so the first day of Pesach always corresponds to the first day of Tisha B'Av, meaning whatever day of the week is the first day of Pesach, that's the first day, that's the day of the week that Tisha B'Av is going to be. And the simon is for these correspondences between different spanim is At Bash Gardak. At is Aleph Shab Pesach, connects with the Taf of Tisha B'Av, right? And etc. There's simonim. This is a simon of At Bash. So it comes out that interesting, just the way we're misam in the Yom Tovim Neged Tisha B'Av is Pesach aligns with Tisha B'Av, and the fact that it aligns with the simon of At Bash, this brings us back to something we mentioned many times, that when you have a chiluf of Isius of At Bash, the way it works is that if it's din, the At Bash switches it to Rachamim. If it's Rachamim, then At Bash switches it to din. So Memela, you have Tisha B'Av, which is din, right? Which is a tough, right? So tough Tisha B'Av. That switches to the Aleph of Pesach, and that's what's mantik the dinim of Tisha B'Av, and ultimately all these 21 days of the Bein HaMitzvah. Pinchas had the ability to bring out the schus of the Yom Tovim. This is what the Imrei Naim speaks out. Pinchas was able to bring out the rachamim, the chesed, the hamtak sadinim of the Yom Tovim to go connect with Balak and Bilam. He says for this reason, right after the Parshas of Pinchas, right after Pinchas is the story of Pinchas, we have the Yom Tovim, right? We have the Parshas of Pinchas has all the musafim of the Yom Tovim, because Pinchas was able to be married these chusim. So I was trying to understand, like, what's the connection between what Pinchas did and his iris of the Yom Tovim? And I think it's Pasha. Like we said, what is a Yontif? A Yontif is a man that a Kadosh Baruch Hu gives Klal Yisrael that allows us to emotionally connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Without Yom Tovim, we're spending our whole lives running after our tails, trying to make a parnasa, always trying to do something, for our pursuits. And life is one big distraction from our avodas Hashem. What is Shabbos and Yontif? Shabbos and Yontif is as man HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us that everything stops, the whole world comes to an end, and what's left? You and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's a time to connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to us, right? Or he brings up our olam to him. You have to know how it works. Is our olam nis'ala or is HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yarin Lamata? Parshas is our olam is Nis'ala. We go up. Hashem brings us up into His world on Shabbos. If the whole world has an upgrading kedusha, and Mimele Yontif is this man that's misuga for all chesed, because when a person is connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu and he's not bogged down with all the Olam Hazeh pursuits, so he gets this tremendous emotional connection to Kadosh Baruch Hu. He has that ability. What was Pinchas? Pinchas was the ultimate of this, like we describe in his kinna. Pinchas could be the whole world is crumbling. Klal Yisrael's involved in Gilui Arayis. Where's Pinchas holding? He's not distracted for a second. His emotional connection is totally connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which you could say, like the Zohar says, that Chacham is called Shabbos. There's always a bechin of Shabbos. That's what Pinchas shows when he has this ability to do kinna. He's saying there's all sorts of nisheris going on. Klal Yisrael is sort of spreading the American, is sort of caught up in the American dream, right? That's it. Run after Taiva. Run after Znus, right? There's nothing wrong. It's perfect. This is just regular behavior. And people can get caught up in it, or if they don't get caught up with it, at least they may end up being Mesiach Das for Navad Hashem. At least they have some sort of effect on them that affects their emotional connection. And Pinchas is able, in his Madrega, to totally not only not get caught up in it, but retain his emotional connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that it wasn't phase that he was at. So maybe that would be Pinchas, sort of, he personified the bechin of Shabbos and Yontif. And maybe that would be the connection, that he was personified it, and he was able to bring out the kayach of Shabbos and Yontif, and to be mamtik the dinim of Balak and Bilam, which ultimately all the destruction of Bnei Midian was part of Balak and Bilam's plan. He says some interesting. He says some interesting remozim, just to connect Pinchas's kinna that both can connect the Bein HaMitzarim. He says it says 3 times kane in the first pasuk of Pinchas. It describes it as Bekane is kinasi. Like he says Bnei Yisrael Bekanasi 3 times kane. He says 3 times kane is the gematria Tammuz, right? And it says the Seif Tavis of as Bnei Yisrael Bekanasi. It's Rashi Tavis of it, which refers to Pesach, and as Bnei is Rashi Tavis Av. Okay, so he says that what's going on over here, there is this dinim of this man that we're holding in now that were Nisayra, they Balak and Bilam, and Pinchas is able to bring the Yom Tov, the Krach, the Yom Tov through which kinna to be mamtik those dinim, to sweeten those dinim. Once we're talking about At Bash, right? At again is the Hamtakas Adinim of Pesach, the Tisha B'Av. Right, the Aleph is first day of Pesach is the same day of the week as the Taf of Tisha B'Av, which is Hamtakas Adinim. He brings down an interesting At Bash for being Oitzer HaMagefa. He brings down from a Yalkut Ruveni, Parshas Korach, that says that when there's Magefa after the Ma'aseh was Korach, Aaron he took the Ketairos and he ran al Techa Kahal. So he says that when you have a Magefa is din. What's the Hamtaka of Magefa? At Bash of Magefa. What are the letters of the At Bash of Magefa? Vayaratz. Okay, you don't have to figure it out. But Magefa is, well, we could just do it. Right, the mem is a yud, the gimel is a reish, right? The the pei is a vav, and the hey is a tzadi, right? So that's a being by Yoretz. He says that Aaron, the pasuk by Aaron by Yoretz al techa kahol, is that he was mamtik magefa ayidei the atbash of magefa with the Yoretz. So he says that mistama, when Pinchas over here also had to be ma'atzar magefa, right? He also l'chayr he tushtal this I date Athbas. He says just as an interesting remnant. It says he says the Heshish the kanis in it what's the lashon the kanis kenasi Heshiv is chamasi mi'al b'nei Yisrael. He says the gemacha of mi'al b'nei Yisrael is the gemacha Atbash that he also zustel the Atbash of Magefo that we know is Vayoretz in order to be mapting the din of the Magefo. The with a well-known Zayar and the way that the Imrei Naim tells it to the Parsha. The Zayar says by Pinchas, it brings down the following. The Medrash brings down this in different ways. The Zayar brings down as follows: that Pinchas had to go kill Zimri. His kinna says you have to kill Zimri. He goes to kill Zimri. However, Zimri is surrounded by all the people of Shevet Shimon. And when someone comes with a spear about to kill Zimri, you can imagine that he's risking his life. But he had no choice. The kind is kinasi. He starts running in, but he's so scared. He fainted, and he was unable for him to do what he needed to do. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu did? HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent the neshamas of Nadav Avihu inside Pinchas. Pinchas came to life now with the neshamas of Nadav Avihu, the two sons of Aaron who died when they're maked the Ketars Pnimiyus by the Yom Shmini L'Miluim, and they brought him to life. And with the payach of the neshamas of Nadav Avihu, he was able to go through the ma'ase of killing Zimri. So Zakta Zoyar. That's why the pasuk says Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. Right? It says Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. He was the son of Elazar, but now that he had the neshamas of Nadav Avihu, who were the children of Aaron, so he's also ben Aaron HaKohen. That's how the Zohar takes up the pasuk. Pinchas ben Elazar. He's also ben Aaron HaKohen. This time a side point. The Zohar asks the following question: that via Zohar can two neshamas go inside one person? Zohar seems to know clearly that only one neshama at a time in a person. So how can two neshamas of Nadav and Avihu go inside Pinchas? Of the Zohar, Nadav and Avihu were not married. A person who's not married is only half a neshama. He's a plad gufa. And Mimela, Nadav and Avihu are only two half neshamas, two halves equal in one whole. They both go inside Pinchas.
Yeah, but they're both
for those of us, what?
They're both halves of Zachar.
Yeah, okay. At the end of the day, as I says, two halves of neshama is one whole neshama, and it's not a kasha on the one neshama rule. For those of us who are married, you should be extra appreciative to your wife that you're not walking around half neshama. Okay, I wonder which half you guys are. Right, you're the top half or the bottom half of that, your wives, or are you split vertically? But whatever it is. Without your wives, you guys at mom should be just half neshamas. So you have to have ultimate appreciation. And for those of us that are looking for shidduchim, right, you have a new way to look. You're not just looking for a physical partner. You're looking for someone that's going to ultimately be the other half of your neshama. When a person looks for neshama, they keep their mind on straight in making decisions for the shidduchim. Because when a person's looking for just another half of his guf, he makes gufnius decisions, but it don't always work out that well. But when you make the decisions, the same shemayim, you have the ultimate siyat shmaya. So when you're looking for the second half of your neshama, this is ultimately the way to be matzliach. Zokti meinayim, based on this lawyer, that Nadav and Avihu were in this aber, their neshamas went inside Pinchas. He says as follows: the pasuk says, Rashi brings down that after Pinchas killed Zimri, so the Shvatim were making fun of Pinchas. Who is this Pinchas? He killed a Nasi Yisrael. He's Ben Puti. He's Ben Puti. He's an Einakol of Yisrael. Shapitem Lavodah Zara, right? Shapitem Agalim. What's the last Shapitem?
Mame.
Shapitem Avim Agalim Avodas Kechab. Okay, so So Mela Zafrashi, the pasuk says Pinchas ben Elos ben Aaron HaKohen. It's miyachasim to back to Aaron to show that he's miyuchis. So back to Meinayim, how you answer the question? Fine, I mean, they do. Pinchas ben Elos ben Aaron HaKohen, but he's also ben Puti, right? So you're not answering anything. But at the end of the day, they're pointing the lineage to Yisrael, who has been Puti, who's Mefatim Agam L'Avodah Zarah. So how are the miyasha? So how's this miyasha the taina on Pinchas? Something my name as follows. He said, why were they calling him Ben Puti? Why were they miyachas him to Yisrael? So he says that who is Yisrael? Yisrael is a Gilgal of Cain. Okay, the Arizal brings down. It's probably a Zoyar. It says Kishiva Sayim Yukam Kayin. Right, Yukam is all the Gegulim of Yisrael. Yukam is Yisrael, Kairach, and the Mitzri that Moshe Rabbeinu killed. Okay, these were people that were the Gegulim of Kayin. Says Yisrael is a Gilgal of Kayin. Who's Kayin? Kayin is the first Retzeach. Oh, how could it be that Pinchas could be a Retzeach? On the one hand, you say he's a Gavaldik Majek of a Kina of a Kanoi, and it's a Gavaldik of Mila, but who knows? Maybe over here they didn't view this as a positive, they viewed this as Ritzicha. So in order to show that his Ritzicha was the Ritzicha, a bona fide Ritzicha, they said, why is he Ritzach? Because he comes from Kayin, and Kayin is the world's first Ritzach. Comes along, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is miyachasim to Aaron. What's the yichus to Aaron? We said from the Zayah, that he's ben Aaron mamish, because he had inside of him the neshamas of Nadav Avihu. How does that answer the question? Who are Nadav and Avihu? Nadav Avihu died on Kiddush Hashem. Right? Ki'ilu, they were marking themselves like Kiddush Hashem when they were marked the Keteris. On the one hand, Ki'ilu, they were Ritzach themselves, right? They were Ma'abed themselves. It was L'Shem Shemayim. Zokti Meinoyam, this is called Ritzicha Kedusha. What the also be Miyachas Pinchas to Aaron HaKohen is to be Miramis too. The Zohar, like we said, that he has Nadav and Avihu. And he took the koach of Ritzicha to Kedusha of Nadav Avihu, and his kin was taka kin of Ritzicha to Kedusha. I guess we'll wrap it up over here, but we've taken Zeicha to be mamtig all the dinim of this time of the year. I don't think anyone needs to be reminded that there's dinim and the starts in development. To even think about it, it's even hard to comprehend. We tend to just try to stick our head back into our work and not pay attention to it. Because it's so horrifying what Nebuch goes on. We should be able to develop our emotional connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that will ultimately be a tremendous chus for ourselves, our families, and Gans Klal Yisrael will be Zeicha Taka to be a Tzedek in